Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a weird one for me because I'm not going to lie, there's definitely going to be a measure of subjectivity that goes into this review. I mean, I don't like Bumblebee, the character, as a whole, in all of its versions. I've never been a fan of Bumblebee. I don't really like Masterpiece. I feel like it's overpriced and rarely lives up to what the definition of masterpiece is. And the movies, well, most people seem to not like them, even though I don't particularly have a problem with them. So when you put a Bumblebee, a masterpiece, and the movie together, I mean, surely only good things can happen, right? We'll see in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all my social media links, all that down in the description below. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel, a member. And this is MPM-7 Bumblebee. It is the Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to pre-warn you, if you adore this thing and you think it's the best thing ever, you might want to go away, because this is not going to be the review for you. I said that there's a subjective side here and an objective side. And even with the subjective side, there are things that I still like. But on the whole, for one very important main reason, I detest this thing. And I don't mean I don't like it. I mean I detest it. I mean, I think it might be the absolute hands down worst transformation I've ever encountered, official or third party. I don't think anything has ever been worse than this. And now, that's strong to say, and I stand by it, and there's a reasoning for it. So when we go through, you're going to certainly hear some frustration, and you're certainly going to see me give the transformation a very, very low, the lowest score I've ever given any transformation. I'll just say it now. But if you stick with me toward the end, we kind of separate the objective from the subjective. Because, of course, I want to try and be as fair as I can. And when we come back here, I'm going to kind of clue things up a little bit. And hopefully make clear why I have such disdain for this. When really, I actually really, really wanted to like it, because I have been impressed with movie masterpieces in the past. As a matter of fact, I said Barricade was a true masterpiece with 10s across the board. Why didn't this guy quite live up to that? Well, you know what? Without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And here we have MPM-7 movie masterpiece, Bumblebee movie, Bumblebee. This is the version that actually turns into the licensed Volkswagen Beetle, and I wanted to give this thing a chance. I wanted to give it a shot. As I said, if you are a fan of this, then this is probably not going to be the review for you, at least not all of it. Look, I'm not a fan of the character of Bumblebee in any iteration. I never have been since I was 6 years old. I don't like the masterpiece line. I think it's a lie of a line. It's not perfect, but we've talked about that a bunch. I wanted to give this a shot because the movie masterpiece line has been a little bit enigmatic for me. I thought that Barricade was a true masterpiece. The thing is 10s across the board. But then we looked at Ironhide, and boy, man, is that thing rough. Real rough. Normally I do the transformations the way they come into packaging, and this guy comes out of packaging in robot mode. But I'm going to tell you now, getting him to this car mode is, for me, the hands down worst transformation I've ever experienced. Worse than Reveal the Shield Perceptor, worse than Universe Galvatron, which had the two worst scores for transformations that I've ever given. Worse than, I don't like Studio Series Hot Rod, so worse than that, like, worse than everything. The transformation I'm going to tell you now is a minus 150. It is trash garbage. I don't, and I'll explain as we go through why I think the transformation is so bad, because it's so needlessly over-engineered so much. I didn't get 1 ounce of joy out of the hour and 20 minutes it took me to get from robot to this. And it should have been a lot easier. It's the same problem that all Bumblebees seem to have. They're trying to pack too much with too tight a tolerance. Like, you have an idea of how much room you have in a beetle. So kind of make the robot appropriate to that. And that's not what they do. Like, I don't think I've ever transformed a movie version of Bumblebee, whether it's the Beetle or the Camaro or anything, any version ever of movie Bumblebee, except for one, and I can't remember what that one was called. I got it thrifting for like $3. But we'll say in the modern age, like with Studio Series and now with the Masterpiece stuff, I can't think of one Bumblebee that I've had that I can say, yeah, everything went together nice and smooth, and once it's together, it feels solid. This feels like it wants to pop apart at the seams, just like Studio Series 18 did, for example. Just like there was an earlier Studio Series 1, same thing. I don't like Bumblebee transformations. I don't feel rewarded by the robot, and I don't feel rewarded by the vehicle. I gotta put that out there now. So the score, I'm telling you, for the transformation right now is minus 150. That's a tough go for this guy. But that doesn't mean that everything is bad, because there is some things that I really like. By the way, in conjunction with that, the way all of this stores on his back bumper is the heights of conspicuous. And I'm sure I did something wrong, but his 4 tires are not laying on the ground. Like, they are... He's not rolling, he's scraping along the ground. It is not good. But the paint here is gorgeous. I love the orange fading, and I think that is absolutely, positively gorgeous. So, before we kind of delve a little bit more into B, let's look at his packaging first. And the packaging is actually pretty great, to be honest with you. I like the product images there. We have the car image over here, and you can still see all the junk down below there. Over here we have B and the car image again. You can see the branding and the Volkswagen logo and all that stuff. And on the back, of course, we have like his mask and his blade and his blaster thing, and oh, he has hidden missile pods. So like, neat, I guess, inside the package. First things first, we have these instructions. These might be the worst, most useless instructions I've ever experienced with any Transformer ever. I could not make head or tails out of one movement that they were trying to show here. Nothing. There's even times where the arrows have like a curvy squiggle in them. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. These are garbage. If you get this, throw these away, because this is a waste of paper and ink. Then we have this. This is what was on the back bumper, and if we take a moment and turn it around, you see 2 kind of round holes there. They go over a couple of nubs on the bumper. On the very back here, we have a mask that looks like a bee. It stays on there extremely precariously over a little black nub down here. Then this tabs on over a rectangular peg. It has a rectangular slot. No, this has the rectangular peg, and I'm sorry, the top of this has a rectangular slot. This will go on his arm. It doesn't really do anything. It's just that blade that we know. And this, of course, is his Gatling gun thing, I guess. Pretty sure it's cast in black with silver and yellow paint. It looks pretty good, and it's molded, sculpted, super nice. And so here we have B himself. Now I'm sure if I pushed up on bits and pieces on the bottom that all 4 tires would be able to touch the ground. But I don't dare do it, because everything is crammed into this shell so tightly that it's bursting apart at the seams, barely holding together. That is my experience with this mold. I suspect that in order to make this thing actually feel solid, you have to have everything just right. And I mean by micrometers, just perfectly right. And to me, that's a joyless transformation. When you have to put that much effort into making sure things are lined up just that right, then to me, there's no fun. It's poorly engineered. These are supposed to be enjoyable. I get the puzzle aspect and whatnot, but it should not have taken me an hour and 20 minutes to get this thing into car mode. And it did. And there was zero joy at any level. I don't like the way the arms transform. I don't like the way the legs transform. I don't like anything about any of the transformation on this. I don't think anything is done clever. And I have to be honest, I know it sounds like I'm really bashing it, and if you love it, cool. I'm happy for you. But I have to kind of grade it based on my experience with mold. And when it comes to the transformation, I can't find one thing to like. But the paint, man, the paint here is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. The paint is going to get, you know, where the transformation is a minus 150, the paint is going to get a plus 150, honestly. We'll see how the articulation is in between. I like the translucent windows. I think that that's really cool. This back door panel on both sides is the bane of my existence. I found that the way I had to do it, because there's a little gray piece attached to this and it's supposed to go over a little round tab. I can't get it to tab in on either side at all. I can push all I like, I can do what I like, it just pops off with the little gray tab on both sides. It will not stay there. Even if it did, or I thought I had, as soon as you try and push the rest of like these two windows and the front door and this whole fender piece in, it pushes this in. So what I found I had to do was put, like, not attach the roof, put my finger in behind and push this out and line it up with the rest of all this. The problem is that makes a connection issue here with these two windows. It's just, I don't know, it's so inelegant. So inelegant, at least to me. And honestly, I found that I had to push in on the sides underneath the hood like with a lot of force in order to get this fender in so that it could tab up under the like roof section here. It didn't just want to go in there. There wasn't really enough room there. You really uncomfortably had to push it in order to accomplish that. Or at least I had to uncomfortably push it in order to accomplish that. So we're going to do the transformation. We'll talk about the rest after. So right now 150 for the paint, minus 150 for the transformation. This is a wild one. Where do I even begin with this? I think we're going to begin by kind of picking this off on the side and probably coming over here and picking this off on the side. Maybe. I don't know, man. Like, I don't even know. Honestly, like, I almost don't know where to start with this thing. I do need to back up the camera, though, to give us a bit more room here to work. Okay, so I started to pick it off here on this side. Though, to be fair, there. Pick off the roof. There's two tabs here. And you can see what I'm talking about with this piece. There's a little gray, maybe you can't see it. Hold on, let's see if I can get that up. There's a little gray section here behind it on the fender that's supposed to go over a little tab. For the life of me, I can't get that to work. Then we come over on this side, and I should hopefully be able to pick off the same way. Maybe, if I'm lucky. I'm not going to be as lucky on this side. I can see. Oh, this is like, and where this is on loan from Maximal 10, like I'm petrified to really push anything too much. Golly. I'm going to bring that down like that for now. And I'm just going to bring that in like that for now, just so it's not all sticking off. We'll come to this side, see if I can get any luck with getting any of this off here. Okay, I got that off. Like, either stuff tabs on far too tight or not tight enough with this guy. This is not fun. Oh my goodness gracious. That's so not fun for me. So not fun. Okay, so all of this is kind of exploded now. Get that down. Get that down. Pick this off, I think. Oh, get that down. And get that down. And fold in the front bumper pieces. So you gotta fold in the front bumper pieces. There are faux bumper pieces down underneath here. They will flip up for robot mode. And we have all of that. This whole section here, it lifts up. And I think this folds in. And I think this is gonna, I think that's gonna fold in eventually. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to this, and I apologize for that, but like it's the way it is. This comes up, and this rotates up, and this head comes out, thusly. I think all of this is supposed to go up under. This is so bad. This is so bad. So bad. The arms, they come out here on the side. Oh man, it's going off screen and everything. This is so bad. Whew. Man, oh man, this is, you can tell already kind of how frustrated I'm getting with this, because there's nothing about anything here that feels even slightly intuitive. Like nothing about any of this feels good or intuitive or enjoyable or fun or nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. Take that down. This is supposed to be able to flip out around. That comes out to the side, this comes down. You gotta take this armature here out to the side for the back of the leg. This comes down. Pick this out. I'm definitely going to do stuff wrong here for the record. Just so we're clear about that. I'm definitely going to do a bunch of stuff wrong here. 100%. There's a little piece there somehow that moves that I can't get to move right now because I don't know how it moves. And honestly, like, this is so not enjoyable that I don't even care how it moves. Like, that's where we're to with this. It's such an unsatisfying transformation. Oh, we gotta flip this piece back because apparently that's a heel spur. That I don't even care how this kind of shows up because it's not good. It's not, like, look at what I'm doing here with these legs. Like, is it just me that feels like, man, this has been insane, you know? I don't know. Okay, we'll bring that up on the side. And I think we're supposed to kind of bring this in on the, like, back of the leg type of thing. This is Maximal 10's doing. This is the torture he likes to put me through. Okay, we got those legs done. Then these got to come out on the side. Then these got to go up because all of this needs to kind of like angle down. There. That got to come in like that. Come in like that. There's a number of hinges and joints back here that are supposed to move in a nice fashion. I'm going to get them lined up instead of trying to figure that out on here and clean up a couple of other things, and then we'll kind of come back and try and finish them off. I did want to show something here on the foot that I neglected. This little gray piece is supposed to come down. It has a little rectangular hole that goes over a little rectangular tab here on the foot, or at least it's supposed to. I mean, how well does it actually hold is debatable. Also, there was a tire out here on the side. You fold the tire in and then all of this kind of goes over the tire. Okay, so at least now we can stand the guy up. His arms were in behind, so I folded them out to the side and brought them out to the front because it's a nuisance to get the hinges and swivels to kind of get it past each other here, because this door was like down on the side, so this whole section with the missile pods was rotated down, now we have it rotated up. This here was down like that for car mode. We put it up like this for door wing mode, and we fold it in behind and we bring this piece down. We already have it done over here, fold it in behind, and that piece is brought down. We can also kind of bring the tire sections back on it there as well. Now, these arms, you can see that they are way down. Few things here. One, this needs to go rotated around and then brought all the way to the back. And we can open out his hand next. Same over here. Rotate that around. Bring it to the back there. It clips in. Bring down that arm. These arms now are going to rotate up. And when they rotate up, there's a rectangular peg here and a slot in the arm. The idea is that the arm should slot over that rectangular peg. And then we can line that up and this one up and peg it on and line it up. And we bring these down if you want to cover over the like chest pieces, I guess. And boom, in the end, though I do have a couple little odds and ends there to kind of clean up on the guy, but in the end, boom, here we have Bumblebee finally in his robot mode. It is definitely easier to go back to robot mode than it is to go to car mode, which is always the case with Bumblebee, because going back to robot mode, as you saw, you just kind of explode everything and then you try to twist stuff around and fiddle stuff around and maneuver stuff around. I definitely glossed over parts because there's no intuitiveness or rhyme or reason to it. But we do get a good looking robot mode. We do get a good looking vehicle mode. It's just, for me personally, the journey that you have to take to get to either mode is not worth it. I feel like this could have been done so much more, I don't know, easily than what it was. But I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't look good. It absolutely does. That's where the 150 comes in for the paint. In terms of his accessories, we have on the forearm over here, we have a rectangular slot. And we should be able to take this and put it over that rectangular slot. Thusly, the blaster's a bit different. So, okay, with the blaster, and see if I can find it. I think we're supposed to turn this way, I believe. And that thumb goes out to the side, and the fingers will sort of go down inside there. But there's a little tab. What we have is like a rectangular slot there, and there's a little rectangular tab under the hand, if I'm not mistaken. I might need to rotate the arm here slightly. Is it this way maybe? It might be this way. And put the fingers in there. There we go. We have the fingers put into a notch, and you can see the knuckle pin all the way up there. Then we have the thumb kind of down into a groove slot there, and then that little rectangular peg hole goes over a little black rectangular peg kind of on the inside of the forearm, so to speak, so that when you want Bumblebee to be set up, by the way, there's some overspray here of the yellow. When you want Bumblebee to be set up for battle, he can look like this. And man, I'll give credit where credit is due. This looks good. The only other piece that's not on there now is his extra face piece, and I'm sure if you found a little tab somewhere this store, somewhere in robot mode, I have no doubt, I'm just not sure where it is. We can open up the top of Bumblebee's head and then remove kind of his upper head, so to speak, and then this piece should, if I can do it now, of course his legs want to give out on me here, this piece should be able to slot down into place, and then that comes down over, and now he's got his Bee battle mask. I'll show this up closer so you can see what it looks like. I think it looks pretty good, and his face is certainly in behind it because all we really did was remove the top of the head. I don't know if there was a better way to execute this or not, but it's still pretty easy. So for those of you who have been paying attention, this guy is currently scoring a 0 because he had 150 for his look and the materials used, really. During the transformation, there are times that I feel like the materials are a little thinner than I'd like for them to be, or a little more delicate than I'd like for them to be, but in robot mode, they're very solid. There's a ton of die cast here. So I give credit where credit is due. The guy looks spectacular. If that's what you're going for and you want to put him in a pose on a shelf, he will do that and be eye-catching and probably a discussion piece. The actual transformation, I don't like not one movement, not one hinge, nothing. 0 about it do I find rewarding, satisfying, or likable. I think it is the worst engineered transformer I've ever dealt with, and that's saying something. I find it that bad. Minus 150, so he's added a 0. The real story of the final score for this guy is going to boil down, for me, to his articulation. And speaking of that articulation, the head can go left, right, sort of wiggle up and down. Not as much movement on the head as I'd like. These door wing pieces, they can move forward and backward a bit. Actually, I'll do it from this side. The shoulder can go all the way out. It comes down. I do find that the shoulders like to come unpegged on both sides. Easy fix, but I do find that they like to come unpegged. We have the shoulder able to go all the way around. I think I already said out. We have an elbow to 90 degrees, wrist swivel. We have a thumb that's on a hinge and pinned at the knuckle, and the knuckle can go up, but the whole thumb don't seem to be able to. The fingers are all individually articulated. The first finger has a hinge at the knuckle, so like you can get them pointing, right? What else do we have here? We have a waist. We have leg out to the side. It can go all the way forward. It can go a surprisingly far amount back as well. We have a thigh swivel that's well, yeah, it's a thigh swivel built up around the hinge up here. We have these chest pieces that can go up for chest missiles. We have a knee to, I'm going to say at least 90 degrees. I think you could probably even get more if you fiddle with the kibble at the back. And see, you got that shoulder coming down a little bit. And we have super deep ankle tilt. And because of the die cast, I mean, when he plants, he plants. I'm going to say that the articulation is a solid 8.5. I wish the shoulder stayed tabbed in a little bit better. I wish the elbow and the knee had a little bit deeper range of motion. So at 8.5. Here's the thing. There has been a very heavy subjective part to this review. And it's different than the objective. Objectively, the transformation is engineered just fine and the things work the way that they are engineered fine enough. Some things don't tab in the way that they're supposed to tab in, at least not on this copy. So by rights, the transformation is probably about an 8, maybe an 8.5. The color scheme is definitely a 10, and the articulation is, as I said, an 8.5. Overall, I would say, objectively speaking, this Bumblebee is about a 9. But if you're getting it expecting to have fun fiddling him back and forth in both modes, I don't think that's what you're going to experience. I think this is very much going to be a case very similar to like MP5 or MP36, those Megatrons where you transform it once to say you did it and then never again. You put them in a mode, you put them on a shelf, and you don't touch them. I think that's what this guy is, a display piece. Subjectively, 150 was a 0, 8.5, he's at 8.5 because of the articulation. It wouldn't be for me. Absolutely wouldn't be for me. But if you're a huge fan of the movies, a huge fan of Bumblebee, or a huge fan of the Masterpiece line, then you're probably going to be happy with this outing. And here we are once again, and here he is. So, the transformation has so much going on that I, personally, take zero joy out of any of it. I didn't like maneuvering or manipulating any of it. I thought that trying to get like the shoulders to pass the wing doors and whatnot didn't really work well. When you get the back of the leg trying to pass the foot, that feels like something's going to break. Trying to peg all that together, none of it stayed together on this copy. Zero of it stayed together, just pushed itself back out. When I'm going from robot to vehicle, the resulting beetle, like, okay, fine, it's a car. Like, it's not a big enough of an alt mode. It's not an important enough of an alt mode to me that I care about the alt mode, and the journey to get there, therefore, isn't worth it to me. When we go from robot, or from vehicle back to robot, again, the robot looks great. It's really cool, but there's still things here I don't like. The shoulders do not stay tabbed in as tightly as I would like for them to stay tabbed in. I don't like all this junk. I know it's the way he was in the film, but I've never liked him with the door wings. It's not Bumblebee. I don't know, like, neither, I do love the diecast. In terms of the transformation, I feel like I'm not rewarded either by the robot or the alt mode. And because going through the transformation is so overly engineered and zero of it is intuitive, half of it doesn't stick together. You got the little tiny gray peg that this little tiny circle is supposed to go on over, and then there's another part where there's a circular peg hole on like the door hinges, and that's supposed to go over like a rectangular peg that makes no sense. There's nothing about the way this was engineered I like. If I worked on this as an engineer, I wouldn't tell people because I think it's that bad. It's right up there with movie masterpiece Ironhide, which was hot garbage for its transformation. But all of that being the case, yes, he displays tremendously well, and if you are the sort of person that all you want is something that looks excellent in a display, this guy will definitely be for you, up your alley. If you want something that looks great as a car on display, definitely for you, up your alley. If you want something that can score dynamic poses and has heft, definitely for you, up your alley. I totally get the appeal that some people will have for this. 100% I get it. But even with a cool looking paint job, even with all the articulation, you are a transformer. The thing you're supposed to do to bring me joy as a consumer is transform from one thing to another, and you fail to do that in any way that gives me any measure of joy whatsoever. None. Zero. All it is frustration, and when I get to the end, it's that's what it looks like. Objectively, it's a solid, like 9. Subjectively, I said it was an 8.5 because of the articulation, but very personally, going the most subjective, it's a -1,000,000. It's no good. I don't want it. Thank God I didn't spend the money on this. I think it's terrible because it fails to bring me any joy doing the thing that it's designed to do, which is transform. And what a crying shame that is when I really, really wanted to like this. I just can't do it. Let me know what you think about movie masterpiece 7 Bumblebee. Maybe you love it, and I totally understand if you do. Like I said, there was a heavy subjective stance here. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. Don't forget that somehow, some way, I'm still distracted by him. Somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.